So now the fire hose comes out. Making it last till when? As Christians, we ask, when do we make it last till? To sustain ourselves until death, so as not to be a burden on our families or society, and or to making it last till the Lord comes. As Christians, we have to take charge of our life. We take charge, we go to the doctor tells us, you want to take this drug and this drug and this drug. You know that the second drug is got all kinds of side effects, some of them suicidal. You know, some of them you say, okay, I'm not going to do this. I will do this and this, but not this. You have to take charge of your health care. Also, you have to take charge of your finances. So we need, if we don't understand, our investment should be easy enough for us to understand. If it's not, then we need to learn or to change our plan. We need to understand the basics. Now, do I understand everything about stocks and bonds? No, I don't understand how it all works, but I rely on the experts to give me advice and to share with me information so that I can reasonably, using the head that God, I don't know how the television works, but I turn it on. I don't know how color goes through the air, but I use it, so I'm going to use that information as well. Retirement is not mentioned in the Bible. It is not a time to stop working, but a time to slow down and be less stressed. Life insurance. If buying life insurance, buy term. Now this is a recommendation of Dave Ramsey, Clark Howard. Buy term, which is a pay-as-you-go insurance. You pay it. As you pay it, you get it. If you quit paying, it drops. Term is a fraction of the cost of whole life. Life insurance is designed to cover family emergencies of young families, not retirement, unless you have minimal savings. Now there are other opinions on that. Some people like whole life. That's fine. And I'm just expressing my opinion. I like to get opinions from people who do not sell things, who are disinterested in that. So therefore, that's what I try to do. My goal for you today is to understand more about planning for the rest of your life, understanding more about a defined benefit plan. That is a pension plan where you didn't pay into it. You don't pay into it. The next one is defined contribution plan. That's where you get maybe a base payment, and then you get a matching fund, and you put money in. That's the two different kinds of retirement plans. Help you to understand more about Social Security plans so that you and your spouse may provide for 20 to 35 more years after retirement. So at age 65, if you live to be 100, that's 35 more years. So you've got to think about that long range and make sure you have enough to last. Eligibility for Social Security, 2018 says, and this is basically for immigrants who've come to the U.S., you have to have 40 quarters or 10 years. If you're in 5,000, 6,000 in 1 month, that qualifies for the whole year, for the quarters for that year. Full retirement age, FRA, we'll see that previously. I'm in the first category there at age 66. I didn't retire at age 70. I could have. It would have been more benefit, but it was time. After 44 years, it's time. So 66, and then it goes up to 67. When should I take my Social Security benefits? Take it early, age 62 to 66. If you need the money now, you're having a hard time making ends meet, and you can't continue to work. You don't need the money. You just invest it. You got a lot more money than what you need. Or your health is poor and you don't expect to live into your late 70s or 80s. When should I take my Social Security benefits? 66 or later. If you haven't saved enough, well, how much is enough? We're going to look at how much is enough and look at a little example. You want to avoid earnings penalties, and we're going to see the next slide here. You want to postpone paying taxes on your Social Security plan because you plan to work on. You're concerned about your spouse's future. If the spouse dies, the survivor takes the higher of the two Social Security payments at 100% of whatever the amount is and is locked in at that level. Okay, so if I get a payment, my wife gets a payment, and it would be the higher of the two if one of us should die. Okay, penalty for earning too much if retiring before full retirement age. You plan to earn more than $17,000, which isn't a whole lot. I mean, it isn't too easy, too hard to reach that amount. Between age 62 and 66, you'll have to give back $1 of every $2 you've received. I don't like to give money back. So in the year just prior to when you reach full retirement, you have to give one back for every $3 if you earn over a current limit of $45,000. So if you're 62 years of age and you say, I'm going to retire and get Social Security, and then you're working on, you're going to give back half of that money. So you're kind of defeating the purpose. But after you reach full retirement age, you can earn all you want, and there's no return of Social Security benefits. Now, you're going to have to pay taxes on it, but you just don't have to return the Social Security amount for what you get.
Do you know how that works when you have a spouse who's still working? How this difference?
I think it only applies to the individual person. It's individually. Yeah.
And is that impacted by if you were drawing from your other retirement fund to supplement? Is that impacting that?
I understand, and again, keep in mind, I'm not an expert in Social Security. This is just kind of what's worked for us and what we understand. But I think this is salary, earnings. Okay. So what weighting really means, look at this. Here's a couple of fill in the blank things, a little hard to see, but there's 6% and there's 8%. So at age 62, every year beyond age 62, you can retire at age 62. Every year you're going to earn 6% more a month. Okay, so it's a good deal. 6% a month. If you're 66, you'll have 24% more each month than you would have at age 62. So that's a good deal. Plus, you can earn money as you're working too, put more money in savings. Then once you reach full retirement age, every year after that, it's 8% more until you reach age 70, at which age 71 it stops. You don't earn any more. That's 32%. So a monthly figure in this example, I'm not saying what you would be getting, but if this is your starting figure at age 62, almost double in 8 years, by just continuing to work on if you can, if it works for you. The breaking point, financial breaking point for retiring at age 62 is age 78. And okay, that I was just going to say, I've had a question about what does that mean? If you take all the dollars that you earn at age 62, and you take all the dollars you earn if you retired at age 62, and you wait until your full retirement age, 4 years later, if you add all those dollars, the breaking point, it's exactly the same at age 78. If you live beyond age 78, you're going to be better off. You're going to make more money collectively for the rest of your life than if you
started at 60.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you were a person who had poor health and you didn't feel that you would have a long lifespan,
That's right.
62 might be the good
That
idea.
might be, that's what was on a previous slide. I know I'm giving you a lot of information here, but that's important. If you know you're not going to live into too long, or you don't think you are, then it might be better to wait. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how that affects if you go into disability?
Disability, I don't understand anything about disability. Now, the books that I have there, Social Security for Dummies, goes into a lot of divorce and disability and a lot of unique things, handicap and all that kind of thing. And I would suggest you read those. But make sure that you get you get it dated 2017 or after, because very quietly the Democrats and the Republicans voted a change in the retirement tax laws back in 2015 2015, 2016, but they didn't let you know about it. They tell you everything else, but that's one thing they worked on together. And they came together, but they didn't, Rand Paul was telling you about that, but nobody else said anything about that. So anyway, make sure it's 2017 copyright to make sure you get the latest information you can. Medicare application within age 65, you should apply for Part A 3 months before, 3 months after. And that doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Now, when you cease work and come off of your company's medical coverage, you must sign up for Part B, which is, the first one is hospitalization, Part A. The second one is medical. I should have that in there. Maybe I'll have it in later. Part B is your medical. And Part D is the drug plan, and you will have premiums increase until you do D. So you may be penalized if you don't do Part D. Part D is the drug plan, D for drugs. Okay? There is no Medicare available until age 65. So if you retire at age 62, you got to come up with some kind of health care for the next 3 years. What I'm sharing with you is things that, even though I was in finance, I didn't understand. I mean, this is not something you come up with. It's something you have to think about, and these are questions that I've asked myself about this. Yes, Linda.
You probably answered this already, and I missed it.
Oh, that's all right.
If you're married and one spouse stay at home and the other spouse works, how does it work when that spouse retire or?
Oh, it's beautiful.
You
I got
not
good
paying
news.
Social Security, but you're at home.
I got good news. So when I retired, right now, I'm getting a spouse allowance. I'm getting half of what I'm getting for my wife. She's getting a spouse allowance. And she didn't earn more than 50% of what little bit she worked part-time. So with that, on the pension plan, it just happened to be the pension plan with the church, applied that, I could do that there, and I could do it with Social Security, and got 80% of what we were making before. So I mean, you have to look at, and you have to look at the age difference of you and your spouse. And you have to, these are just ideas. You got to put it together and try to figure out how it's going to apply to you, because everybody's different. I can't give you a formula. I'm just saying my wife and I are basically, we're 4 months apart in age. So it worked out really good. So Medicare.gov. Now, this is basically saying, there's a whole bunch of information here. In essence, it's saying you got to sign up for Part A within your 65 years. Now, I'm just scared to death to share information with you when it's online. You can find this online. And I don't want to say anything different, but you can look online and you can say when you're eligible for Medicare and when you need to sign up. So that's, but I'm going to give you the information there. So don't take my word for it, just like the pastor says. Don't believe every word I say. You check it out for yourself. You get your own Bible and you check it out for yourself. Likewise here, I'm just giving you some ideas and some things to look into and check out for yourself. So that's another one, another example of what it means to wait. So here is where most men, this is the men's side, so 50% of men retire at age 62. Okay? So they miss out on all that benefit, plus they got to pay medical, come up with medical 3 years prior to 65. Then these are the people who wait just beyond that, 63 to the full retirement age, 66 or 66 in 2 months or whatever it is. So there's about 78% of people in that category. People who wait till full retirement age are they're up to about 95%, and I'm right there. I waited till 66 and 2/3 years, and people who are in 70 are going to wait. They're going to be in that category too. So it's good to wait as long as you can because it gains a benefit to you. Social Security, its future and importance has to be, in my opinion, it has to be solvent because it has to be politically. There are too many retirees that can still vote. So they better make sure, and I understand they said Social Security is going to be cutting back in the year 2035 or something, that they're only going to be able to give you 75% of what you're getting now if it runs out. But they can fix that by moving that age 67 to 68. Just 1 year. And that will solve the problem. When the Social Security, I was reading in the book, the Social Security for Dummies, it said, when they voted the age 65, they said most of the people didn't live beyond that. So that was in the, 40s and Truman, not Truman, Roosevelt.
Yeah, when you die before you got it.
Yeah. But we're living longer now, and they've not changed it much since then. Social Security, okay, not only a benefit of a monthly check at retirement, but for possible disability needs. But the biggest is Medicare, paying 80% of healthcare costs. One incident without Medicare could wipe out your entire life savings without it. Several pastors have the option to opt out of Social Security. And we encourage many of them, that's why I put this in here. We encourage many of them to do that because it saves money. But then there was changes in the law made, and we said, but you're not going to get Medicare. Medicare is the biggie here, the big expense. So we encourage them to go back on Medicare and go on Social Security so they could get Medicare from that. One incident could wipe out your entire savings without Medicare. How to find out what you would get from Social Security? They used to send us stuff every year about what we get at age 62 and age 66 and 70, and they don't do that anymore. So there's something about a spouse allowance, and if you want to check into it, you can go on and log on in this website here. You can find out what you'll get at age 62 and 70. But each can retire separately, or one can retire and get a spouse allowance in the other. But there are certain guidelines depending on your age. Because we're the same age, we're able to get that. But if your spouse might earn more than the spouse allowance would be, more than 50%, they may be deemed, if I'm reading it correctly, and I want you to check that out yourself, they may be deemed to be applying for their own Social Security benefit. But I'm thinking if the law hasn't changed that much, that when my wife reaches age 70, she may get about $150 more a month than the spouse allowance. So we're banking on that. We're hoping for that, but we'll see. It may change the law again. Who knows? Social Security eligibility. Okay, that's the benefit, the spouse thing. So I just want you to know it's there. You can't read it, but it's talking about the spousal benefit. It's something worth checking into for yourself. Okay, freedom from debt. Credit card, when you're planning for retirement, credit card interest is piracy. Don't let them steal from you. Pay it off each month. Buy a used vehicle, 10 years, duplication there, but repetition is the key to learning, right? Buy a one-income house. Don't add equity to your house. Don't borrow against your retirement plan. Bottom line is to be debt-free by retirement. Okay, preserve your health. Think preventatively at an early age. Healthcare is the biggest concern for retirees. Prepare to live several more years. Maintain a reasonable weight. Reduce problems with joints, diabetes. If you have joint problems, maybe you have a weight problem. If you have cholesterol, maybe you need to plan blood pressure. So try to get that under control early on. Drink water in the morning, throughout the day, restful sleep, fresh air, sunshine, exercise, garden, mow your own lawn, walking. You don't need a gym membership. Think safety, eye, ear protection, dust masks, gloves, stay off the roofs, pay someone, use supportive shoes, all kinds of stuff there, okay? So just take care of your health. Think about your health. I have hearing aids. This guy's just, I don't wear these all the time, but I want to hear what you're saying, so I wear them when I go to church and when I come to meetings like this. But I can't hear the doctor told me I had TOTS disease. Have you heard about that, TOTS disease? He had a smile when he said this. He says, your high pitches you can't hear. Turn off the spouse. So anyway, I have no excuse now. I got the hearing aids in.
But your hearing aids are very expensive and you're not covered in the
Well, I got these free. I was given to, Dave's dad gave them to me, and the batteries are cheap, and so yeah, I'm fine. I'm good to go for another 20 years.
But hearing loss is so common with retirees.
Yes, it is.
And what my family's finding is hearing aids are very expensive and
Yes.
not covered by Medicare.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever he gets though now, Dave's dad, is not that expensive. And it's the same type, it's not big, but it's whatever his, so if it's something of interest, we find out what it is, but it's not, they're
Yeah.
on Medicare too, and it's not that expensive.
Sure. So
Could Joe repeat all that?
check the internet. Huh? What'd you say?
One of the best places for hearing aids is Costco.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Okay. Eat simply, naturally, plant-based, organic, non-GMO. Take your lunch. Exercise. Only exercise the joints and the muscles you want to keep. That's all you got to do. The ones you want to keep, you just exercise those. Leave the rest of them. Preventative medicine, dental, physical exams, and corrections. Floss daily for healthy gums and teeth, and it also helps your heart. Yeah, you've heard that on the news. Keeps your heart healthy by flossing your teeth.
Wonder how that works.
Pardon?
Wonder how that works.
Yeah. I think it's the infection, the gum disease. It gets into your system and it affects you.
You keep your teeth healthy, of course, so when you have floor bills, so you don't get a heart attack.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a joke. Okay?
Buy long-term health care. Dave Ramsey says buy it when you're in your 60s, not younger. Long-term health care. That's nursing home, assisted living, whatever. So we bought it in our 60s, and it's not too expensive. Investments. Bonds, a debt investment in a corporation or government. Stocks, also known as equities, equal distribution and partial ownership of a company. Money markets, short-term maturities with a relatively quick access to money. Mutual funds, a group of stocks or bonds. Index funds, which follow the certain market, things like the S&P 500 or the total stock market. Target-based, or we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's designed for certain ages that automatically adjust. And I have some articles for you here. I don't know if you picked these up. It's 6 pages long, but I subscribe to this. It's called Know Nothing Investing, Index Funds for Beginners. So if you don't want to analyze it, spend time during the day trying to analyze your stocks and keep up with how the companies are doing, this is a good thing for you to do. If anybody, did you all get one of these, or maybe Dave or Marlene or Mom, you could get some. Anybody need one of these? This is really, really valuable, I think. And basically what I'm covering will be a review of what I'm sharing here today. Roth IRA, tax deferred is if you've got a 401k and you have money going in before taxes are deducted, and then it grows tax-free. A Roth is when you pay taxes on it, and then it grows tax-free forever. Dollar cost averaging is putting in, and I want to stress this, putting in the same amount of money every pay period, regardless of what the market is doing. So I'm going to put in $100 at the end of this month. I get paid once a month. $100. Next month I'm going to put in $100. Next month I'm going to put in $100. Stock market's going down, down, down. I'm going to put in $100. Stock market's going up. I'm going to put in $100 next month. I'm going to put in $100 next month. I'm going to put in you don't care about what the stock market's doing. The stock market's going like this, up and down. The bonds are going to be, they're going to help balance out the stocks, and that's what this article is talking about. They're going to help balance that out. So when we had the downturn here, I think my portfolio, which I'm managing myself, adjusted about 2%. 2%. When it dropped 1,000 points in one day and then dropped again, it adjusted about 2%. So then it creeps up and then it goes back and down. But dollar cost averaging, we'll talk about that a little bit more. The best time to plant an oak tree is today. If you haven't started savings, now is the time to start doing that. Doing what if you're getting paid, if you can do it through your employer, that's the best way to do it. 403B, 401k, and I maximized my last couple of years this amount, the $24,000, and the Roth must be payroll deducted. Add extra if you try to put in as much as you can through your employer. Out of sight, out of mind, it's easier to live on the net. And if you have a match at your employers, make sure you take advantage of all that match. That is 100% interest in one day. 100% interest in one day. And I've had denominational workers say, I can't afford it. You can't afford not to take advantage of that. Once that pay period goes by, you can never go back and say, oh, I made a mistake. I'd like to go back and do it. No, you take it when you can get it. Payroll deduction so you can't see it. And when you get a raise in pay, increase your percentage of deductions. And again, work towards a 15%. Why invest in equities? Let's see how I'm doing time-wise. Okay, just a little bit farther here. There's been the parable of the talents. Jesus said at least you could have put it at interest, implying there were other investments. At least you could have put it in savings, he said, instead of hiding it under a rock. Equities have a known track record despite all U.S. wars and calamities, no 10-year period with a loss through all the wars and all the major crises. No 10-year period. So when you're investing in stocks and bonds, you're investing the long term. You're not investing for 1 year. You're not going to look at it and say, oh, I lost money this year. I could have had it in a CD and getting 0.1%, but I lost 5% in the stock market. Okay, you're not in it for 1 year. You're in it for 10 years. And during that 10-year period, at one point it's going to peak. And maybe then you need to lock it down to some bonds and lock it in, the growth. Diversify. Ecclesiastes says 7 or 8 different kinds of things. You could have done something different. So some in houses, some in, not in cars, unless it's an antique car. Houses, stocks, real estate, whatever. Select a reputable mutual fund with a 5 to 10-year track record, and their computer will analyze and select the best buys. And one that I suggest is Vanguard Investments. And again, I'm not selling Vanguard. I have no, I just, it's known as the low-fee company, Vanguard. 3/4 of the index funds that are run by computers beat the experts who try to time the market. They try to time the market. And this article here says, why would you want to settle for just what the market is? The market is good. If you're earning an average of 10% a year, that is good. Why try to beat it and maybe lose? Try to keep up with the market and at least get that. Inflation has averaged a little under 3%. That says over, but I think it's a little under 3% for the past 40 years. If you buy a CD, you get 1% if you're really lucky. and inflation is negative 3% a year, you've lost money just by doing it in CDs or passbook savings. Equities average 8% over the long haul again. So the long haul, 8% minus 3%, you make 5%. Pay taxes a little bit, you still have a net gain. The fear of losing market fluctuation. A coward dies 1,000 deaths, a hero dies one. I worked with an individual who the church went into a 403B plan, and the stock market was going down. We'd put money in and it would lose. We'd put money in and it would lose. We'd put money in and lose. And the family member said to them, "Take it out, Dad. Take it out before it goes too far." So he listened to his son, took it out. 2008, all of a sudden it tripled, and he lost all that upswing. A coward dies 1,000 deaths, but a hero dies one. I left mine in. I said, I understand a little bit about the market. It should be coming back up. And it went, wow, just shot up. So that's basically what benefited us, because I didn't put that much money in, but I was a latecomer in trying to put money in. I should have started a whole lot earlier than what I did. Once you put your money into equities, don't mess with the recipe. Don't constantly be changing your investments. The word is discipline, not emotion. So here's the benefit of compounding interest. Einstein says that one of the greatest mysteries of the world is compounding interest. So here's about $50,000. They put in $125 a month for 30 years. So they make about $50,000 there, okay? 6% interest gave them about $125,000. If they could make 8% interest, stock market, about $180,000 compared to $50,000. And if you could earn 10%, about $275,000. So the benefit of staying in the market, putting a little bit in each time, dollar cost averaging, putting it in over the long haul. Jack Bogle, who is a founder of Vanguard and invented the idea of the index funds, is a creator of that and the low-fee investing, says you heard the phrase, don't just stand there, do something. For investors who rationally made a plan, by far the best advice, don't do something, just stand there. In other words, don't get shocked. You look at the stock market, it's going down. Oh, don't panic. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to go up and down. If you're dollar cost averaging, you're buying low. You're buying when the stock market's down. You're buying. When it comes up, it's going to multiply up. So just stand there. I'm going to tell this story and then we'll take a little break here. Juice and cookies, we still have that, or is that? Okay, all right. We're going to do that right now. Okay, so let me tell you this story. First, Karen, you got to hear this story. This is cool. So Dave Ramsey, who's a millionaire, says I'm going to talk to a billionaire. And he says, I don't know, I want to get his secrets. I'm a millionaire, but what's a billionaire? What can I learn from a billionaire? And he said, I've got this book, and it's a wonderful book. He said, man, I want to sit at this man's feet and learn how he made his success. And so he says, and this is the book. It's called The Tortoise and the Hare. I said, what? The tortoise and the hare? That's your secret? He said, steady and easy going. Just keep plodding along. You get the jackrabbit who's going to make a lot of money, and they run ahead, and then they lose it, and then they fall asleep, they get tired, they get burned. Once burned, always burned. You take somebody's best advice, and then you lose money, you're probably not going to risk anymore. So just keep plodding along, keep going along, and you're going to come out ahead. You're going to win the race. All right, with that, we're going to take a little break. Some juice and cookies. David?
Coming to church this morning, I was listening to Wes Moss on the radio.
Yes.
And he was talking about Vanguard, but he was also saying that he prefers Fidelity
So you can look at their prospectuses and find out how much they're earning. Okay? All right. We're going to take just 5 minutes, very brief. I've got a little bit more to go here, but I know this is heavy stuff. A lot of stuff here, but make sure you get this article on Know Nothing Investing. Okay? Let's go get some cookies and juice.
Yesterday when you was talking about some books up there,
Yes.
where you get those books from? The one
The
you
books.
was talking about yesterday.